I'm running low on gas. I know a station up ahead. I hope they have a strong cup of coffee. Know a place where I could find a motel bed. I've been traveling these back roads so long, don't know if I can even walk. But if you got a shot of whiskey, mister, and a story, I think we could talk. Filled her up, checked the oil. Hey, what's the latest, do you know? Hadn't been here in a while. This place always makes me smile.
You know something, Billy? I'll bet you a nickel to a donut I have seen you with that pipe at least 100 times. But I don't reckon I have ever seen you light it.
Well, I don't smoke.
Howdy, Jim Bob.
Hi, Charlie.
I do declare. Jim Bob, you look to me like someone who's been maybe shooted at and missed and chit at and hit dead center.
You don't say.
Well, I kind of think I just did. What have you been doing?
For your information, I've been kind of busy.
You been kind of busy?
I sure have.
If and you don't mind my asking, busy doing what?
Lots of things. Last night, I rescued a fifth of tequila.
You rescued a fifth of tequila?
You have to repeat everything I say.
Well, no, I don't guess I do. Didn't even realize I was. I'm sorry, Jim Bob.
Well, anyway, as I was saying, it took me a little time to get her out of the bottle. But little by little, I got her out, and I ain't seen her since.
I do declare, Jim Bob,
Charlie, put that on my bill, if you don't mind.
Charlie, that man from the IRS is on the phone again.
I told that man the last time he called that I'd get that stuff together and I would mail it to him. Howdy, Cletus.
Hello, Charlie. I reckon you heard about old Jim Bob's accident.
Jim Bob was in an accident? This is the first I've heard of it. Was he hurt bad? Of course, I ain't surprised the way he drives.
He wasn't in no car wreck. Damn old horse of his pitched him off into a prickly pear cactus bed.
A prickly pear cactus bed? I do declare.
Man, I heard he drove himself to the emergency room, and I'll tell you something else I heard. They had him standing up there butt-ass naked, and there must have been a dozen of them little nurses walking around him with tweezers pulling them thorns out.
I do declare.
He had them everywhere. He had them on the side of his face. He even had them on his unmentionables.
That Jim Bob can get himself into the damnedest messes. What about that old horse of his?
I heard when he got back home, that old horse was waiting at the barn to get fed.
Well, let me tell you something. I don't care how mad, how sore, how hurting Jim Bob was, you can bet your last dollar he fed that horse.
You know, I bet you're right about that, but I guarantee you, you can bet another dollar that old Jim Bob had a few choice words to say to that old horse of his.
Why do you suppose it is he keeps that knothead anyhow?
Oh, hell, you know Jim Bob. Put that on my bill, will you, Charlie?
Charlie, can I ask you something?
Sure, go ahead.
Have you ever been married?
Twice when I was younger.
Twice? Really? Well, what happened?
Well, my first wife ran off with a vacuum cleaner salesman.
A vacuum cleaner salesman?
That's kind of what I thought.
Well, what happened to the second one?
Well, my second wife, I guess we'd been married about 5 years. And I'll be doggone if one day she didn't run off too and she took my dog with her.
Did you miss her?
Of course I missed her. I loved her. I tell you, she was the apple of my eye. Sadie was a fine dog. Well, howdy, Jake.
Howdy, Charlie. Thank you.
Well, I guess you heard the big news.
Well, I don't know. This big news of yours, is it good news or bad news?
If you ask Jim Bob and Cletus, I think they'll tell you it was bad news. They're sitting down in the county jail tonight.
Sitting down in the county jail? What for?
Well, you heard the story about that fool horse of his pitching him into that cactus patch, and he had to walk all the way back to the house. He just about had enough of that old nag. So him and Cletus loaded that witch up into the back of his pickup like it's 1956 or something, and hauled her down to the Saturday night horse sale at the auction barn. Well, they passed the Walmart, and they thought, yeah, they could stand to pick up a few items, so they did. They pulled in and they parked. They moseyed on into the Walmart, and the way I hear it, by the time they got inside that door, that old hussy kicked that back gate out, hopped out of that truck, and took her own time up towards the front of the store. Well, you know them electric doors. All she had to do was walk in front of that, and they came sliding open. Well, she just wandered on in there like she owned the place.
I do declare.
I imagine in about 10 or 15 minutes, she did about $3,000 worth of damage. There was a bunch of folks trying to catch her. Store manager got wind of what was going on. He called the cops. Cops got there, caught up with the horse about the same time as the horse caught up with Jim Bob.
I do declare.
Well, that manager about lost it. He got up in Jim Bob's face. He was cussing him a blue streak. You know old Jim Bob. He popped that store manager a good one. And that's when all hell broke loose.
Jake, I do declare that is the damnedest thing I ever heard of. There you go, Jake.
Put that on my bill, Charlie, would you?
If you got a shot of whiskey, mister, and a story, I think we could talk. Filled her up, checked the oil. Hey, what's the latest, do you know? Hadn't been here in a while. This place always makes me smile. Filled her up, checked the oil. Hey, that tire's looking mighty low. Have y'all got any rain? Life is good, I can't complain. How much do I owe?